What's going on, everyone? My name's Eric. Today on the channel we have this guitar here. It's a 2006 made in Korea Dean Far Beyond Driven tribute guitar. Obviously another Dimebag Darrell signature guitar. This was one of the first Dean Dimebag guitars that was released upon Dimebag returning back to Dean, and unfortunately upon Dimebag's passing. This guitar was in just for a quick setup and a quick tuning change, and it's been on the channel a couple times before. And if you have an eagle eye and if you know these guitars, you're gonna notice that the bridge pickup has been changed out from the factory bridge. But as this guitar came in, once again, I am again reminded how awesome these 2006 and these early Dean guitars and the early Dean Dimebag Darrell signature line is. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more of why I think these guitars are so awesome later on in the video. But first and foremost, let's hear how this guitar sounds in a full demo mix. And that was the 2006 Dean Far Beyond Driven Tribute Series guitar in a full demo mix. Signal chain was real simple. This guitar here, wild pickups, XL500 in the bridge, going straight into my rev generator on the red channel, then into a cabinet impulse response of a Randall Jaguar speaker from Ward Cabinets. So when Dimebag went back to Dean guitars in 2004, there were tons of plans for new designs and everything like that, and essentially that turned into the very first line of Dean Dimebag guitars that came out after Dimebag's untimely passing. We had models such as the Dean from Hell, the Dimeflage, the Dime of Flame, we had the original Razorback line, and we had this guy here, which is the Far Beyond Driven guitar. And this was the first time that you can get a replica of Dimebag's original Far Beyond Driven Dean ML, which was a 1979 Dean ML. And if you want to learn more about that guitar, I have another video on my channel that I will link to, and you can go check out that guitar after this one. Speaking of this guitar here, this is a 2006 made in Korea. This is one of the early 2000s Dean guitars, and I'm going to go on record and say it again that these are some of my most favorite import guitars, especially for the big extreme shapes and everything like that here. These guitars are built so well, and I've played a good amount of other Dean MLs and other Dean Dimebag guitars, and there's something special about the early run. I'm not sure if maybe that's when I was first getting into them and everything like that, in around 2006, 2007, and when they really caught my eye, maybe there's a bit of nostalgia there. But honestly, after playing these things, like, they're just built so well. And even after having played and owned a few, maybe 2014, 2012-ish Deans, and those ones were just kind of okay by comparison. Maybe they were lemons, I'm not too sure, but every early Dean that I have played from like 2006 to 2010 or 2008 have always just been so killer. So if you are looking for a Dimebag guitar, these are essentially the holy grail of the import Dean Dimebag line, in my honest opinion. Now let's go over some specs on the Dean Dimebag Far Beyond Driven Tribute Series guitar. This guitar here, like all other Dean and Dimebag ML shaped guitars, mahogany body, mahogany neck. It's just the classic recipe for a solid Dimebag guitar. We then have a beautiful flame maple veneer up top here, and the quality of this one is really, really good here. As I've said with all these early 2006-ish, 2010-ish Dean and Dimebag MLs, The quality that these guitars were at were honestly just so great for the money, and if you can find these things used for a good price, definitely hop on them. Build quality is amazing, and just the overall attention to detail and aesthetics is just on point with these guitars here. We have a licensed by Floyd Rose tremolo here with the mismatched hardware colors. 2 volumes, 1 tone. The tone has been disconnected as Dimebag had his tone disconnected on all of his guitars by his longtime guitar tech Grady Champion. We then have a Wild Pickups XL500 in the bridge, and that is a great substitute for those of you who don't like the Dimebucker and you want to chase that Dimebag sound, and maybe you can't afford an old school Bill Lawrence XL500 pickup. This is a great replacement, and it's made on the exact same machine that the early 80s Bill Lawrence XL500 pickups were made on. And one cool thing is that it is still ran in the Bill Lawrence family. It's ran by Bill's wife and Bill's daughter, who are keeping the legacy alive of making these killer pickups. We have the original Dean neck pickup in this guitar. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be reminiscing, like a 59 or a Super Distortion or anything like that. Honestly, this is a fantastic neck pickup, and if you're looking to actually make a Dimebag tribute guitar, whether it's an actual Dimebag model or maybe like a Dean 79 series ML, stock neck pickup on these guitars is absolutely phenomenal. So don't feel like you need to rip this out and get something else, because these are fantastic from the factory. 3-way toggle switch, very simple here. Rosewood fingerboard, great cut of rosewood right here. 22 nickel frets, 24 3/4 inch scale length. Abalone dot inlays. Like, this guitar has so many great features, and it just looks fantastic too. Neck and body binding all over the guitar, none on the headstock. This guitar also came with the Dimebag tribute sticker that was on the headstock, and there was one that went down here behind the Floyd Rose that was supposed to reminisce Dimebag's original Kiss sticker that was on his original Far Beyond driven guitar. I'm going to see if I can get a couple shots of both of those stickers just so you can all see of what this guitar would look like with both stickers on it. But this one was always standard on the headstock here. And speaking of the headstock on this guitar here, the headstock has been broken a couple times. I'm not sure if you can see the incision right there. That's where it's been put back together. But it's very fitting because pretty well all of Dimebag's Dean guitars had their headstocks snapped at one point. We then have the Grover 18:1 ratio tuners on here. Fantastic tuners. They just work. They're simple. They do the job. The neck has been sanded down so then you can have a bit more of a satin feel and the ease of playing the guitar, especially if you sweat a lot. That's something you might want to consider doing on your guitar. Quick, easy tip here. Add a little bit of foam in the back behind your Floyd Rose springs to keep them from rattling, to keep all that noise down when you are tracking guitars. And one last thing about the specs on this guitar is the neck shape is around a C-shaped neck profile. It's very comfy and is not offensive. I know there's a lot of people who don't like the V-shaped neck. I personally love the V-shaped neck. There's a few of the import Dimebag guitars that actually had the V-shaped neck. Some of the Razorbacks did, and the original Dean from Hell import line did. Those ones are made in China. I've gone over that a few times, that the Chinese models had the V-shaped necks, whereas a lot of the Korean ones really didn't. It wasn't until later down the road that a lot of the Dimebag guitars actually had the V-shaped neck, which is very interesting. I'm not sure why there was neck shape differences between the Dimebag line and some of the other lines that Dean was offering at the time and everything like that. But if you know that, let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, this is a very comfy neck. It feels like a lot of other standard guitars that I have played throughout my time, like ESPs and Schecters and everything like that. And I really feel like Dean maybe did that on the import line just to have a little bit of familiarity between guitar brands, especially if this was maybe one of your first nicer guitars, and if maybe you're trying to get into guitar and everything like that. You want something that's going to be comfy when you're playing guitar for quite a long time, and the V-shaped neck is just not for everyone at the end of the day, whereas a C-shape or a D-shape neck profile is pretty forgiving for a lot of players, and it's a very comfy shape that a lot of players can get used to, especially when you're trying on a new guitar body that isn't as traditional as a Stratocaster, a Tele, or a Les Paul. unfortunately, as we know it, the current Dean Dimebag line is being discontinued for obvious reasons. There is a new line coming. We're gonna have to wait and see what happens here, but you cannot get this guitar brand new anymore unless it is a factory back order, and music stores have their orders being fulfilled through Dean guitars. And then if you want one of these guitars and you want to recreate the original Far Beyond driven look and everything, and you want that original Dean headstock, this is kind of the way to do it because it was signed off by Dimebag. And honestly, I'm just reminded of how fantastic these early Dean Dimebag guitars are. And I've had a couple Washburn 333s, and those are great guitars as well, and especially with the used market prices on those, if you really want a Washburn and you're going for the, like, sure, that's your thing and everything, but if you want the original Dean, like, look and everything, and if you want the original Dimebag designs from Cowboys all the way up to Far Beyond Driven with those guitars that he was using, these early, like, first run Dean Dimebag guitars are just honestly fantastic. And you're going to be saving a little bit of money too because they are not at the current Washburn 333 prices. And I know that's a big thing for people because all the Dimebag guitars are getting harder to find and the prices are just going up on them. But that's going to be a conversation for another time. If you can find these guitars, just grab them and actually have a Dimebag signature guitar that the man signed off on. And regardless, at the end of the day, if you're playing a Washburn, or you're playing a Dean, or if you're playing the new brand that's going to be coming out, you are carrying the spirit of Dimebag, and I think that's the main thing at the end of the day, especially if you are a diehard Dimebag or Pantera fan. That's what we all want to do at the end of the day. We want to maintain his legacy and keep the spirit alive. That's going to do it for today's video. I really don't have anything else extra to say about this guitar. Like, it's just awesome. I really don't know what else to say. For a Korean import guitar, extreme shape, you know, for another Dimebag guitar, this guitar is sick. I really don't know what else to say. If you can find one on the used market and you want a Dimebag guitar and this is in your budget, like, just go get one, especially one of these early ones. Now, I've had a little bit of experience with the most recent Deans, and those guitars that I've played have been fantastic as well, but I haven't played a brand new Dean Dimebag guitar that's an actual import model. I would definitely love to try one at some point, and I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on the import Dimebag line. If you love them, if they're your thing, have you played great ones, have you played not so great ones? I'd love to hear all of your thoughts and opinions below on the import Dean Dimebag line and your own Dimebag tribute build that you have done with the import guitars. If you enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up. It lets me know that you enjoy the things that I make for you. And if this is your first time checking out one of my videos, consider hitting that subscribe button. I have tons more Dimebag and Pantera content reviewing the Dimebag guitars and everything like that, as well as other general guitar maintenance tips and guitar reviews and all good things like that. Thanks for checking this out, and I'll see you next time.